Good morning, everyone. Yesterday when I got on, I had a couple of things on my mind, but I was gonna talk about one thing, and I started talking about something different. Hey, Twan, how you doing? I just want to let you know some of the times when people are coming on, I can see them. Sometimes I can't. If I don't say anything to you, it's because I don't see you come on. Okay, so yesterday I wanted to talk about a TV show that I'm watching, a series, and it's called Lost in Space. Now, I don't do all that well with oh, and I'm cooking breakfast this morning because I've started keto. Well, not really keto, because with keto you are doing keeping up with micros and macros or something. I'm not doing all that. I'm just doing no sugars and no starches. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to make me an omelet. Usually I kind of messed up because I should have done this so I wouldn't have gotten so hungry before. Hey, Prophet Thompson, how you doing? Before I went out, so I would not be so hungry. But now I'm like a little bit under starving. So, and you know what? I don't know if this is going to really work that well because I forgot and left some stuff in the bowl. So I have to take it out and start over. I left some, I have to throw that away. I left syrup in my thing, so I'm not even going to be able to use that because of the sugar content. But yesterday, I was did not know if I had a few things on my mind to talk about, but I'm watching this show called Lost in Space. One edition came out about some years ago, I think, when I was young. But then they had now it's a series on Netflix called Lost in Space. And it's pretty much being lost in space, how they left Earth because Earth was breaking down to go venture off to something they felt like would be better. And like anything else, of course, it's not better. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So one of the characters up there, when he was asked, you know, what is the new... Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Hey, Prophet. Hey, Prophetess Laverne, how are you? Is the new Earth or the new planet gonna be, was it better? Because one of the characters, he was a mechanic and he had been there. And they asked him, well, you know, is it better than Earth? And he said, well, the land is the same, but it's not the land, it's the people in the land that is making it the same. Because those people are bringing the same baggage that they brought from Earth. So how would you expect for it to be any better? And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Because in every aspect of our lives, we want different, or we want more. We aspire to be different. We aspire for different situations. We aspire for our lives to change. But if we don't change us, then we're going to get the same outcome. And this goes back to whether it's church, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, it doesn't matter. A lot of our problems just in general are just us. We don't want to really deal with that it's us. We don't really want to deal with that we are the issue, or that we have attributed a lot to not the situation not changing, or situations not changing. It's just like anything else. I heard this pastor say one time, when he started a church, well, he's actually an apostle, but when he started a church, the church was perfect until members started to come. And it was kind of funny because of what he said. And he said, when I'm talking about members, I'm talking about me, my wife, and kids, because we was the first members. Because the church was perfect before we showed up. And that's how it is. Everybody is looking for something perfect from imperfect people. And I'm not saying that you should not strive for perfection. We all should strive for perfection. However, we people, and we are going to make mistakes. The important part of this about making mistakes is owning the mistake, apologizing, correcting the mistake, and moving forward. So if you're in a situation and the situation keeps repeating itself, 9 times out of 10 is you. And you keep going other places or keep getting in different relationships, keep going to different jobs, and the same thing is occurring all the time, it's you. You can't just always blame other people for your poor behavior. Sometimes, even in relationships, your behavior isn't poor per se, it's just you keep picking the wrong person. So if you can have a good personality, good character, good integrity, make good money, but you keep choosing the wrong people, therefore leaving you in the same situation that you were in before, by yourself. So of course the outcome is not going to be different because you didn't do anything different. You stayed with the same type of people. Unfortunately, we are usually attracted to a certain type of person. Good morning, Miss Charlotte. How are you? We are attracted to a certain kind of person. Sometimes the people that we are attracted to either are attracted to us or aren't good for us. And it's that we have to deal with within ourselves before we can find resolute and find resolute and a positive outcome is the same thing. So we really have to take an inner look at ourselves. And I was talking to a friend one day, and she asked me, she said, well, how do you change your behavior? You have to, and I said, you have to change, hey Janae, you have to change your mindset. And it's just like me dieting or a lifestyle change or eating change or whatever you want to call it, tomato, tomato. But at the end of the day, my mind had to change first. I had to change my mindset. I had to know and really look at myself to say, well, I'm on steroids from time to time, so I would just always blame my weight gain on the steroids, which my weight gain did come from the steroids, but I didn't help it out either because I just love to eat. I've always loved to eat. That's just, eating has always been a big thing for me. Everything about food I love, the way it smells, the way it feels in my mouth, the way everything. Like I'm a foodie. Everybody knows I'll travel 2 hours to go to one restaurant. That's just how I am. I'll spend good money on food. If the food is worth it, I don't have a problem with paying for it. However, I have to take some kind of responsibility for being overweight and staying overweight. Because I just can't keep blaming the steroids when I haven't been on steroids for a month and I have not lost a pound. At some point, I had to take responsibility and say, okay, Natalie, this is no longer the steroids. This is bad eating habits. Because I don't sleep often, I suffer from SSS, and that's short sleeper syndrome. I tend to be up all night, all day, and I do my one favorite thing, my one go-to, and that is eating. And because I love to eat, that's what I do. I'm not what you call an emotional eater because I'm gonna eat past any kind of emotion or any sadness, any happiness. I've gotten to the age in my life because I'm not like really a clubber or any of those things. When somebody said, oh girl, let's go celebrate this, let's go celebrate that, my go-to is, oh well, where are we going to eat at? That's my go-to. It's unfortunate, but that's my go-to. And when I go there, I don't use good judgment. I don't pick good food. I just eat whatever. I love fries. I have a love-hate relationship with fries. I love them. So that's my go-to. And because of that, we all know fries are not just fried, but they're carbs. Excuse me, y'all, I'm looking for a mixture. I bought something from the grocery store and I don't see it in here. You know, so I don't know. Anywho, I guess I just gotta keep going forward. But that seems to be my go-to. And because that's my go-to and I know it's my go-to, I have to do and make better decisions. Even if I'm going out to eat, when I get there, I have to make a better decision on what I'm going to eat. And that comes with a mindset change and personal responsibility. We don't really like to deal with personal responsibility. I don't know why. I guess because it's something that we can change and we can't blame it on anybody else. However, I don't know if this ain't good. Yeah. So, however, even though it's easier for us to blame it on other people. So that's probably why we're doing it. But anytime you want to change, you have to deal with yourself in that and make sure that you're no longer just, you know, it's really something to say when you only have one good real fork and you have to make sure you wash that fork out and nobody throws away that fork. But anywho, so that's what I wanted to talk about. And sometimes even, you know, people call me all the time about, oh, do you want to be on this committee? Do you want to be on this panel? Usually it's about some sort of relationship. I don't know how I became the relationship guru. As many times as I've been married, it's unfortunate. But, and maybe I think sometimes because it's my different view on things. Yes, Janae. Oh, yes, Janae, you've lost a lot of weight. You look fabulous, sweetie. You do. I saw your picture. I was like, oh, girl did that. You did that, babe. You did it. Congratulations on that and sticking with it and working it because you did that. But, you know, we can't just always blame other people. We have to take responsibility for whatever it is that we want to aspire in life. So I'm just cooking my onions right now. Ooh, some of them popped down the pan. That's unfortunate. Guess I'll cook some more. But it was something I was just getting ready to say. Hey Jeff, just my baby daddy. But it was something I was getting ready to say about responsibility and taking it. So anyway, so I was thinking the other day, what is it that I always run into when it comes to friendships, relationships, church? I can't really think of anything bad that I run into. Sometimes the season is over and sometimes you just being fast. But, hey, my brother Sean, he thinks I'm his secretary, but I'm not. Hi, Shanika. But anyway, oh yeah, me and Sean was talking about the other day, not being able to find a healthy mate, and we were having a personal conversation, so I can't really tell you everything that we went over, but he hit it on the head. Sometimes you just have to fall back and let the chips fall where they may. And it will work out better for you because they're just falling in your lap and you won't be so pressed about things. You get what I'm saying? And it also comes from a different mindset, a different change. Everything isn't everybody else's fault all the time. Sometimes you have to look. Like, I've been married a lot of times and people would ask me, well, what happened? And I would just tell them, you know, I mean, what's the one common factor? Me. Whether it was bad behavior or whether it was picking the wrong person, I just had to be honest. It was, Hey, Mardisha, I haven't seen you in a long time, love. Hope you're all is well and you're doing good. I'm pretty sure you are. How the baby's doing. So sometimes we just have to be honest with ourselves. It didn't go so good, my little omelet. So I'm going to have to just make it, I don't know. Anyway, so we just have to be honest with ourselves and just try to figure out what is it that we can do to rectify the problem. But I think it was about all. Oh, yeah, somebody did ask me to clarify what I was saying yesterday about an apology I had to give to somebody because they said that I switched topics after somebody responded to me. And I did look back at the live and I didn't finish telling you guys why I apologized. I did not apologize because I was wrong as far as being sabotaged. I apologize because when God rectified the problem and the problem was exposed, I wasn't telling it like a testimony. I just was kind of like gossiping about it. Okay, that's not funny. I apologize. I was gossiping about it. I mean, somebody did ask me about it, and I just went kind of like ham on how the girl is a horrible person. Even, I mean, she at that point, she had not apologized, but still, after God rectifies something, just let it go. So one day I was in prayer, and this goes to show to the people that always are talking about you in prayer, talking about they are in prayer. When you're really in prayer, God shows you you. And one day I was in prayer, and God spoke to me and told me to apologize. Now, we don't want to deal with those kind of words. We want to deal with a house, a car, a baby, a business. We don't want to deal with correction. It's unfortunate. And even when God told me that at first, I'm just going to be honest, I was like, apologize? I didn't do nothing to that girl. I took that girl in. She ran me down like a brazen husband. Why would I apologize to her? And then the scripture came to me, disobedience is as of witchcraft. And that was me being disobedient. Even to the voice of God. It was me being disobedient. So I did apologize. She did not at that point apologize back. She did say all is well, and I felt the way about that, but God had already corrected me when I thought I was going to tell somebody. Even that, I was still going to tell somebody about it, and then God corrected me on my behavior, so I just had to let it go. She did eventually apologize, so we did eventually get it right. But then it went downhill again, but I just didn't even play into that at that point. I just let her have that one. But yeah, you have to look at yourself because we aren't perfect people and we aren't perfect. So if you want to change or you, it's this song called Cycles or Circles. It's a spiritual song and it talks about how you continue to go in cycles. If you continue to go in cycles, you have to sit down and assess the situation and assess yourself and assess the behavior of what is taking place in your life that you keep making the same decisions or making the wrong decisions or the wrong choices. You have to sit back and look at yourself. Mine was even in relationships. Because I'm a natural giver, I'm a God gifted me. I think that I give too much of myself in the beginning. I don't leave anything up for the imagination. And when I say I'm not talking about sexually, I'm talking about emotionally, mentally, and monetarily. That I give too much of myself. And so instead of them saying, okay, well, you know, she's a ride or die, or she knows how to carry her weight, or she'll be a good partner, they just sit back and say, oh, well, we can use her. Let's just get off the boat here and just lay on this beach. And then I have to exile them from the beach because you're just not going to use me. So either which way you look at it, you have to take full responsibility for your actions, and that goes to church as well. You know, people, and I talked about this yesterday, they want to holler church hurt. Hey, Apostle Joel, but they don't want to come clean about what their part was in the church hurt. We always just want to blame other people. And I just want to remind you that if your church seems to be going downhill, assess yourself and see what did you or your job or your relationship, what part did you play in it going downhill? Hey, Uncle Rufus, what part did you play in it? And I guarantee you will find something that you did, whether it was you did too much talking, or you didn't do enough talking enough. You didn't speak out for what was right, or you were gossiping when you should have been praying. It's a lot that you could have easily done, even in relationships. I had to learn earlier that I was very hard to be led, especially as a prophet. We fall back on that because most prophets have very strong characteristics. We have very strong personalities. And as a woman, it comes across, it's not come across, here's the truth. We don't want to be led. We don't want to be said anything to. We don't want to be corrected. Because we hear the voice of God, so we just like, I know what God said, and this is it. You can't tell me nothing. Well, unfortunately, you need to put yourself in check before God allows you to be put in check. Because just because God speaks to you does not mean you're the only one that he's speaking to. And sometimes out of anger or emotions, we say things that's not of God. And we want to call it prophecy. And if you read in Revelations, it tells you have to be very careful about what you say out of your mouth and call it prophecy when you're emotional or upset, because it tells you in Revelations, do not add or take away anything from the word, or you will be taking days off, years off of your life. And it just does not apply to God's written word. It applies to the oral word as well. And I learned one time, and here's a story. One time I was up at a church, and the pastor released the floor to me. And I didn't see the young lady at first. So when I got up and I started prophesying, and then I saw her, and God gave me a word of correction for her. And I was like, I ain't even gonna lie. I was like, yeah, I'm getting ready to get this heifer. Like, yeah. And I started walking to her, and God said, if you release that word in the wrong spirit, you will pay for it. And so I kept walking, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get it. And then if you release that word in the wrong spirit, you are going to pay for it. And so I walked around. I immediately made a U-turn, like I busted a U-turn, and I just walked off. And I started prophesying to someone else. And after that, the pastor asked me, he said, Natalie, I saw you walking to someone, and then you just abruptly stopped. And I told him what happened, and he said, wow. He was like, a lot of prophets wouldn't have done that. They would have given her the word in the wrong spirit. I said, well, unfortunately, I value my life more than I value my emotions. And you should never feel vindicated. You should never feel good about giving a word of correction, because it should hurt you just like it hurt them. You should give it in a good spirit, and sharing in and hoping that they get it right. Because we have all fallen short of the glory of God. We don't dot every I and cross every T. And we have to take full responsibility as to who we are. And I had to, I took a season off when that happened, for prophesying, because I had to get myself right with God, because it was really something very wrong with me emotionally and spiritually that I felt that was the right opportunity to hurt a sister. Even though it was a word of correction from God, but I was using it as a weapon. And anything you have to say used as a weapon is not of God. You should never use God's word to try to tear down everything that God does. He builds. And so it's a fine line between a witch and a prophet, or a warlock and a prophet. You don't want to cross over that line. That's not what you want to do at all. You want to be very careful in everything that you say regarding what God is saying in that hour. Because you can hurt someone, you can damage someone, and that blood is on your hands. And the Bible said, woe to the shepherd that scatters the flock. That kind of applies there. You don't ever want to be that shepherd or a leader that is hurting your flock and causing them to scatter, because woe is never a good thing with God. And so it was that I learned early, that I made sure that never happened again. I never take glory. I never take joy and happiness into somebody else's word of correction. I most definitely show empathy and sympathy. I pray along with them, because the Bible tells us to pray for those, not pray against those. But he said, pray for those that despitefully use you. And one thing that I've learned in when you pray for someone that is using you, when your heart is right, your prayer goes something like, God, change their heart so they won't be lost. But 9 times out of 10, when you start praying about someone, God shows you if you're standing in right, if you're in the right standing with God, and you're praying to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, like, you're praying to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whatever. You're praying to, who I'm talking about. You're praying to the right God. Jacob, yeah. You're praying to the right God. God will show you what you could have done better in that situation. God shows you how you erred and what could have made it better. And then God gives you a prayer for that person, or gives you a softening in your spirit for that person, and just not makes you want to lash out and, oh yeah. Because one thing, I disliked this person one time, and I could not move past that situation until I started praying for God to change me. And then when I stopped looking for God to retaliate against that person, that's when God shifted the situation. And so you have to learn how to be in right standing. Hey, Clifton. Hey, Ronald. Hey, Tricia. Hey, Rodney. In right God, standing in good standing with God, to make sure that you are getting the fullness of him and his kingdom. One of the scriptures that has been playing on me all day was when the Bible says that the sons of God met with him, and the devil came along with them. And that's how it is in our life. You can have good intentions. You can be going in the right direction, and then the enemy will just pop up from anywhere. And it's how you handle him that makes you either a victim or victorious. It's how you handle the enemy of your soul and his plight as to what makes you come out on the other side victorious. And that's my word today. Just self-accountability and self-assessment, and a changing of the mindset. You just have to remember that not everybody is going to feel the same way you feel about your vision or your ideas. They are not. You can't get frustrated in well-doing. You just have to keep right on moving forward, pushing through, pounding hard. Okay? So that's the word that I have on today. Y'all guys have a good day, and remember, failure is not an option. Bye-bye.